Scene 1. The Ishtar Gate at dusk. You are here now, Babylon. The air is warm and still. It carries something faint, cedar smoke maybe, or the last heat rising from sun-baked brick. You breathe it in slowly. There is no hurry. There is nowhere else you need to be. You stand before the Ishtar Gate. It is enormous. You knew it would be, and yet, you tilt your head back and let your eyes climb. The gate towers above you, blue as deep water, blue as the sky just before full dark settles in. The lapis glaze catches the last orange light of dusk. It shimmers very gently. You look at the animals. They march in long rows across the face of the gate. Lions with calm, steady eyes, aurochs with curved horns. Sirish, creatures from older stories, part serpent, part lion, part something no one has quite agreed on. They have been walking these bricks for centuries. They do not seem tired. The light is changing. Dusk here moves slowly, as if it too has nowhere to be. Torches begin to appear along the top of the walls, one, then another. They bloom orange in the blue air. A guard on the high walkway adjusts his spear and yawns. Even in Babylon, some things are the same. You step closer to the gate. The bricks are smooth beneath your fingertips. Cool now, after the long day's heat. Each brick fits perfectly against the next. Someone placed this one here, someone placed that one. Thousands of hands, thousands of mornings, and this is what they made together. Something permanent, something that makes you feel, without quite knowing why, that everything is going to be all right. The great doors of the gate stand open. They are cedar wood banded in bronze. The bronze has gone a soft, dark green with age. You can see the procession road beyond, wide, flat, lined with the warm glow of lamplight. It runs straight into the heart of the city. Babylon breathes around you. You hear low voices from somewhere inside the walls. A cart rolls slowly on stone. A child calls out and is gently answered. These sounds come to you softly, without edges. The last slice of sun drops behind the plain to the west. The sky above the gate turns from orange to rose, from rose to violet. The blue of the tiles deepens. The sirish and the lions grow quieter in the fading light, as if they too are settling. You stand at the threshold. The evening air moves across your face. It is gentle. It asks nothing of you. You feel your shoulders lower, very slightly. You feel the ground solid beneath your feet. You are in no rush to walk through. You can stay here a little longer at the edge of the greatest city in the world, watching the torches multiply along the walls, watching the stars begin to appear one by one in the darkening sky above Babylon, one by one. Slowly. The sound of the city floats toward you, like something almost dreamed. Scene 2. Walking the main boulevard. You walk through the gate now. The processional way opens before you. It is wide enough for 10 people to walk side by side without touching. You take your time. There is no crowd pressing you forward. The evening has begun, and Babylon moves at the pace of evening. The road is paved with pale limestone. Your footsteps are soft on it, smooth stone, worn by so many years of sandals and bare feet, and the slow wheels of ceremonial carts. You feel that smoothness through the soles of your feet. Walls rise on either side of you. They are glazed in the same deep blue as the gate. More lions walk along them at eye level. Their eyes are calm. Their paws are careful. They have been walking this boulevard for as long as anyone can remember, and they will keep walking long after tonight. Torches line the way at even intervals. Their light falls golden on the stone. You pass a family sitting on the wide step of a doorway. A man, a woman, a small child asleep across both their laps. They speak to each other in low voices. They do not look up. You are simply another person walking the boulevard on a warm evening. You belong here as much as anyone. The air smells of sesame oil and cooked bread. A temple stands ahead on your left. It is not the great ziggurat. That is further on, a shape you can see against the stars, step by step rising into the dark. This is a smaller temple, lit from within. Soft light comes through its doorway in a long rectangle on the stone. Someone inside is singing, one voice, unhurried. You cannot make out the words. You do not need to. You slow down a little. There is a merchant's boy sitting cross-legged at the edge of the road. He is supposed to be watching a pile of rolled textiles. Instead, he is watching a beetle make its determined way across the limestone. Professional dedication, you think, at its very finest. You walk on. The boulevard curves very slightly, and the ziggurat comes into full view. It rises in great stepped terraces against the deep violet sky. Greenery grows at its highest levels. You can see the dark shapes of trees up there, impossibly high. Lamps glow on each terrace. The whole structure seems to float softly against the stars. You stop walking. You simply look at it. Your breath slows. There is something about the scale of it that makes your thoughts grow quiet. Not small, just quiet, settled, like water finding its level. The singing from the temple carries on. A cart rolls somewhere behind you, its sound fading as it turns off down a side street. The torches burn steadily on either side of the road. You stay still. You let Babylon arrange itself around you. The ziggurat holds its place in the sky. The stars hold theirs. And you feel your own breathing slow and deepen, matching the pace of this long and unhurried night. Scene 3. The river market winding down. You find your way to the market by the water. It is winding down now. The hour is late enough that the serious trading is finished. What remains is slower and softer, the end of a long day settling into something more like rest. You walk between the stalls. The canopies are made of woven reeds and cloth dyed in ochre and dark red. Many of them have been half folded back for the evening. The merchants sit on low stools. Some are counting their coins with quiet concentration. One is asleep upright, arms folded, which is either impressive or simply long practice. You pass a stall of clay pots. They are stacked in careful towers, round-bellied, sealed with dark pitch, grain inside or oil or beer. The woman who sells them is wrapping each one that didn't sell today in clean cloth. She works with care. Each pot gets the same attention, whether it costs a little or a great deal. You like her for that. The ground is soft with reed matting. Your footsteps make almost no sound. There are oil lamps everywhere, small ones, set on posts and crates and coiled ropes. Their flames barely move in the still air. Everything they light gently. The faces of the merchants, the curve of a jar, the surface of a bolt of linen. You stop at a stall of dried fish. You do not buy any. The merchant understands completely. He nods as if you have said something wise. Further on, 2 boys are loading unsold dates into a basket. They work in companionable silence, dropping the dates in by the handful. One of them is eating as many as he loads. The other notices and says nothing. This is, you suspect, the arrangement they have always had. The river is close now. You can hear it. It is a low sound, the Euphrates at this hour. A quiet, continuous movement beneath everything else. It does not call attention to itself. It simply continues. It has been continuing since long before this city rose above its banks, and it will continue after. A barge sits moored at the edge of the market. Its cargo of reeds was unloaded this morning. Now it rocks very gently, empty, its rope tied to a post with a sailor's knot. Someone will sleep on it tonight. Someone always does. The lamp flames begin to go out, one by one, as merchants cover them for the night. The light in the market grows dimmer, softer. The sounds grow fewer. You stand in the middle of the stalls and let the quiet arrive. It comes in stages, the way all good things do. A voice stops, a cart stops. The counting of coins stops, and what is left is just the river and the lamplight and the warm night air moving gently through the canvas and the reed. Your eyes grow slower. The edges of things soften. Everything dims very gently, like a lamp turned low by a careful hand. Scene 4. Beside the Euphrates at twilight. You follow the path down to the river. It is a gentle slope, worn smooth by 1,000 evening visits. Your steps are easy. The reeds grow tall on either side of you. They make a small dry sound as the air moves through them. Not wind, just breath. The river's breath. You reach the bank. The Euphrates is wide here, wider than you expected. In the last light of twilight, it is the color of polished bronze, going slowly to silver, going slowly to dark. It moves without hurry. It has always moved without hurry. It knows where it is going, and it is in no rush to get there. You sit down on the bank. The earth is still warm from the day. You feel that warmth rise up through your clothing, through your skin, into the places in your body that have been holding themselves tight without your noticing. Those places soften now. You let them. The city is behind you. You can still feel it, a low hum, a warmth, a sense of 10,000 lives continuing in their gentle ways. But here by the water it is distant. It does not ask anything of you. A boat passes. It is long and low, a trading vessel returning empty from somewhere downstream. 2 figures stand at the stern. One holds a long pole. The other is watching the bank. He sees you sitting there and raises his hand just once. You raise yours back. The boat continues. The water closes behind it without a sound. You watch the surface of the river. It is full of sky. The last violet light of dusk lies on the water in long trembling stripes. A star appears in the east, bright and early, as if it could not wait. Then another following at a more dignified pace. Within a few minutes there are many. The river holds them all, shifting them gently. A frog begins to call from somewhere in the reeds. One long note, then silence, then again. It seems quite pleased with itself. You lean back on your hands. The bank is wide and flat. The ground is yours. The night is yours. There is nothing you need to do, and no one who needs anything from you, and the river goes on moving in its ancient and unhurried way. Your thoughts, if you have any, are small ones, comfortable ones, the kind that drift rather than insist. You watch the stars multiply in the water below you. There is a palm tree a little way along the bank. Its fronds are still. The city is a warm glow to the north. The river carries it all, the light, the stars, the reflection of a very old moon beginning to rise, and it does not seem burdened. It simply carries. You breathe out, slowly. Your spine releases, your jaw releases, your hands rest open on the ground. The river moves, the stars settle, and somewhere deep in your chest your own breathing finds the river's pace, slow, easy, going somewhere, in no hurry at all. Scene 5. The Spice Merchant's Stall. You find the stall tucked between 2 larger ones, near the edge of the evening market. It is smaller than you expected, but the smell reaches you before anything else. It reaches you from several steps away, and it is not one smell but many, layered like music, warm ones underneath, sharp ones in the middle, something sweet at the very top, barely there, like an afterthought that turned out to be the whole point. You slow down. You are already slowing. The merchant is an older woman. She sits on a low cedar chest, and she is sorting through a pile of dried rose petals with complete absorption. She does not look up when you arrive. She knows you are there. She is simply not in a hurry about it. The stall is arranged with care. Everything has its place. Clay jars line the back shelf, each stopped with a small round of cloth, each marked with a symbol pressed into the clay before firing. Baskets sit along the ground in a row. Saffron, the color of captured sunset, cumin, gray-brown and ancient smelling, cardamom pods, pale green, slightly wrinkled, containing more complexity than anything that small has any right to. You lean toward a basket of cinnamon bark. The smell is immediate, warm and dry and sweet. It rises to meet you. It is not demanding, it is generous. It simply offers itself, the way all good things do. The merchant glances up. She looks at you the way someone looks at a person who clearly knows nothing about cinnamon, but is trying very hard. It is a kind look. She picks up a curl of bark from the basket and holds it out. You take it. You turn it in your fingers. The bark is papery at the edges. It breaks apart very slightly, releasing more of that warm smell. You buy a small packet. You are not sure you needed to, but it seemed right. She wraps it in a piece of dark cloth with practiced movements. Fold, fold, tuck. She ties it with a short length of cord and slides it across the counter without ceremony, as if she has done this exact thing more times than the stars. She has. You stand in the stall a moment longer. There's a small oil lamp on the back shelf behind the jars. Its flame reflects in the dark glaze of 100 clay surfaces. The stall glows from the inside. It smells like the center of the world. Other smells reach you. Turmeric, dusty and golden. Dried herbs you cannot name. Something smoky from a jar near the corner that you decide not to ask about. The rose petals are back in the merchant's hands. Her attention has returned fully to them. You step out into the evening. The packet is warm in your palm. You hold it loosely. The smell continues, quiet and constant. Around you, the market breathes its late-night breath. Slow footsteps, a murmured exchange, a lamp going out somewhere, and spreading out from the warm packet in your hand, and from the stall behind you, and from the whole dark, fragrant air of Babylon, a silence that fills every space, every corner, every quiet place inside you. Wide, soft, complete. Scene 6. The courtyard at evening. Someone has left the gate open for you. It is a wooden gate, old and darkened, set into a mud brick wall. The latch is simple. You push it with 2 fingers and it swings in without resistance, as if it has been waiting all evening to do exactly that. You step inside. The courtyard is not large, but it has been arranged with great patience and great love. That much is clear from the first moment. Someone has spent years thinking carefully about where each thing should go. A fig tree grows in the center, its branches spread wide and low, and it has claimed most of the courtyard for its canopy. The leaves are large and dark. They do not move. The air here is perfectly still. Beneath the tree there is a stone bench. You go to it. The stone is smooth. It is the kind of smooth that comes not from cutting but from use. From hundreds of evenings, hundreds of people sitting here, wearing it gentle. You sit down and feel it immediately, that particular coolness of stone that has spent the day in shade. Around the walls, plants grow in clay pots and in small beds, edged with cut brick. There are herbs you recognize by smell before you see them clearly. Something sharp and green, something softer, almost medicinal. In the corner, a rose bush holds a few late blooms, very dark in the evening light, their scent moving through the air in slow pulses. There is also a small pool. It is very simple. A square cut into the ground, no larger than a doorway, lined with pale stone. The water is dark and still. A single oil lamp on the wall behind it casts a long reflection across the surface. The reflection barely wavers. You watch it for a while. Something has been planted in the corners of the courtyard that you cannot quite identify, low and spreading with small pale flowers. They glow slightly in the dusk the way some flowers do, as if they stored up light during the day specifically for this purpose. Someone thought of that. It is a very good idea, and it is clear that whoever planted them knew exactly what they were doing and said nothing about it to anyone. A cat appears from behind the largest pot. It crosses the courtyard at a diagonal, deliberate and slow. It reaches the bench, considers you, then sits down 2 arm lengths away and begins to wash its face. This is apparently not a disturbance. It is simply the next thing that happens in this courtyard in the evening. The fig tree settles above you. The lamp on the wall sends out its small, steady light. The pool holds it. The flowers hold theirs. Even the bench beneath you seems to hold something. All those evenings, all that sitting, all that breathing out. You breathe out now. The rosebush releases another soft wave of scent. The cat finishes with its face and tucks its paws beneath it. The courtyard is quiet in the way that only enclosed places can be quiet. Complete on all sides. Nothing requiring your attention. Nothing at all. Your shoulders come down. Your eyes grow soft. The lamplight dims at the edges of your vision, gently, the way an evening chooses to become night, without announcement, without hurry, simply by letting the light go slowly, softly all the way out. Scene 7. Inside a Babylonian tavern. You smell it before you see it. Barley and smoke and something warm underneath both. The smell of a room that has been full of people for a very long time. It is not unpleasant. It is the opposite of unpleasant. It is the smell of evenings continuing as they should. You push through the low doorway. The tavern is lit by oil lamps on every surface. A dozen of them, maybe more. Each one small on its own, but together they fill the room with a warm amber light that falls on everything softly, the way old light does. Nothing is sharp in here. Every edge is rounded by it. The room is not crowded at this hour. A few small groups sit at low cedar tables. Their conversations are quiet. You catch fragments, something about a river, something about a journey north, someone's opinion on the quality of a recent delivery of dates, offered firmly, with no evidence that anyone asked. The date conversation is in a corner and has apparently been going on for some time. You find a place along the wall. There is a cushion on the bench. It is slightly flat, as cushions in taverns always are. You sit. It is still a cushion. It is fine. The woman who brings your drink is brisk and efficient. She sets the clay cup down with a small definitive sound and moves away before you think of anything to say. The drink inside is a Babylonian beer, pale and slightly cloudy, smelling of grain and something faintly herbal. You wrap both hands around the cup. It is warm. The room breathes around you. Someone near the hearth is playing a small stringed instrument very quietly, not performing, just playing for themselves, working through a phrase again and again with small adjustments each time. The melody is simple, 4 notes, 5, turning back on itself. You stop noticing it as music and begin simply hearing it as part of the room. Above you, the ceiling is low and vaulted. Smoke has darkened the bricks near the top. A gecko moves across the wall in the upper corner with complete calm. It has been here longer than anyone and knows it. You take a sip. The beer is cool, slightly sour, very good in the way that simple things made carefully are good. The lamp nearest you flickers once, then settles. Around the room, the conversations continue in their quiet way. The date discussion reaches some kind of resolution, or perhaps simply pauses. The instrument turns through its small phrase one more time and then stops, and the silence it leaves is comfortable rather than empty. Your back is against the wall. Your hands hold the cup loosely now. The warmth of it has moved up through your palms and into your arms. The amber light lays itself over everything. The ceiling is close and vaulted and kind. You are not waiting for anything. Nothing is about to happen. The evening is simply here, and you are in it, and the lamp burns on, and somewhere across the room someone laughs once, low and easy, and then that too settles. And the whole room breathes in together and breathes out, and does not breathe in again quite so far. Scene 8. The scribe's quarter at night. The street here is quieter than the others. You notice it immediately, the way the sound of the city steps back a little, as if even Babylon knows to keep its voice down in this quarter. The buildings on either side are close together. Their upper stories lean toward each other slightly, narrowing the strip of star-filled sky above you. You walk slowly. There is no need for speed here. There never is. Most of the doors are closed at this hour. But not all. Through one open doorway, a lamp burns on a low table. You can see the edge of a writing surface, a clay tablet waiting in the pool of light. The room beyond is still. Its occupant has stepped away or fallen asleep at the bench. Both seem equally likely. Both seem fine. You continue down the street. A basket of fresh clay tablets sits just inside another doorway. They are damp still, pale and smooth, waiting for morning. You pause and look at them. Each one is completely unmarked. Each one is entirely patient about this. On the corner there is a larger room, its door propped open with a brick. Inside, an older scribe sits working by lamplight. He does not look up. His stylus moves across a wet tablet with steady, practiced strokes. The cuneiform presses in cleanly. Small triangles, wedge-shaped lines, building themselves into meaning one deliberate mark at a time. He pauses occasionally. He considers. He makes a small correction with his thumbnail. He continues. You watch from the doorway for a moment. There is a shelf behind him running the full length of the wall, floor to ceiling, dense with tablets. Finished ones, dry and pale, stacked in careful rows. Records of grain, records of livestock, records of contracts between people who are now very long dead, whose names are nonetheless still here, still pressed into clay, still waiting to be read by anyone who takes the time to learn how. This seems, when you think about it, like a reasonable kind of immortality. The scribe reaches the bottom of his tablet and sets it carefully to one side. He picks up a new one. He holds it for a moment, feeling its weight and dampness. Then he begins again. You step back into the street. The air is cool here and faintly earthy. The smell of wet clay drifts from every doorway. It is a clean smell, an ancient smell, the smell of things being set down carefully so they will not be forgotten. Above you the stars are very clear. You look up through the narrow gap between the rooftops. The stars do not move, or they move too slowly for your eyes to catch. They simply are there, the same stars that were there when these scribes' grandfathers' grandfathers pressed their first marks into clay. The lamp in the corner room burns on. The stylus moves. The city murmurs very faintly somewhere beyond these streets. You breathe in the cool, clay-scented air, and breathe out slowly, and the silence spreads from doorway to doorway, from one quiet room to the next, filling the whole long street, settling like dust, settling like patience, settling like something that has nowhere else to be. Scene 9, the Temple Canal District. You hear the water first, a low, continuous sound, not rushing, not urgent, simply moving. Moving as it has always moved, along the same stone channels, between the same pale walls toward the same dark river. You follow the sound down a gradual slope and find yourself beside the canal. It is narrower than the Euphrates, but it has its own kind of presence. The water is dark and clear. In it, you can see the reflection of the temple tower rising some distance away. The great Ziggurat, its tiers stacked against the night sky, its uppermost level holding a single light, steady and remote. The tower's reflection in the canal is broken into wavering pieces, but you can still make it out. It reassembles itself patiently each time the water moves. You walk along the bank. The path is paved with flat stones, worn smooth in the center where feet have always fallen. Lamps on short posts mark the way at intervals. Their light falls on the water in bright patches. Between the patches, the canal is very dark, reflecting only stars. A small boat is tied at a mooring nearby. It sits low in the water, empty. It is the kind of boat used for moving offerings, flowers, oil, small clay figures, from one temple precinct to another. There are still petals in the bottom of it, pale ones, drifting. The boat rocks almost imperceptibly in the slow current. Further along the canal, steps lead down to the water's edge. These are washing steps, wide and shallow. Women come here in the mornings. Now they are empty. The stone at the water's edge is dark with moisture, and a few reeds have pushed up between the lower steps, and no one has removed them because they seem, if anything, like an improvement. You sit at the top of the steps. The canal is level with your feet from here. If you stretched your arm down, you could trail your fingers in the water. You consider this. You decide simply to watch it instead. The current is gentle. You can track it by a floating pedal, moving slowly from your left to your right, carried without effort, released from whatever it was before, going wherever water goes at night in Babylon. You watch it until it passes out of the lamplight. Then you look up. The Ziggurat is directly across the water. It rises in 4 great terraces, each one set back from the one below, each one pale against the sky. The light at the summit has not moved. It burns quietly for whoever requires a light at the summit. The canal carries sound away from you. The city softens. The night settles around the temple walls like something that belongs there, and it does belong there. Night and temples understand each other. They always have. Your breath finds the pace of the water. In, slow, out, slow. The canal continues its long, unhurried conversation with the river. The pedal is gone now, carried somewhere pleasant. The lamp's reflection stretches on the surface, long and golden, and your breath slows further still and further, easy as water, going somewhere, in no particular rush to arrive. Hopper Scene 10. Children chasing cats in the market. You hear them before you see them. A burst of laughter from somewhere between the stalls, then small, rapid footsteps, then a gap, and then another burst of laughter further away. You round a corner and there they are, 4 children, perhaps 5, moving at the chaotic velocity that only children achieve. They are chasing a cat. The cat is not concerned. It moves at a trot, unhurried, purposeful, keeping a precise 3 steps ahead of the nearest child with what can only be described as professional ease. It has done this before. It will do it again. It has strong opinions about how much chase is appropriate and is enforcing them. The children fan out at a junction between stalls. They communicate in a rapid, wordless way, a glance, a pointed finger, an agreement reached in under a second. 2 go left, 2 go right. Their logic is sound, their execution is immediate. The cat goes straight up a display of stacked grain sacks and sits at the top, watching them with magnificent indifference. There is a pause. The children look at the cat looks at the children. One of the children says something definitive. The others consider it. A small disagreement follows. It resolves itself without consequence. They drift back into the market in search of another cat, which the market will certainly provide. You watch them go. The market at this hour is winding down, but slowly, in the way Babylon does most things, without any great urgency. Merchants fold cloth with the particular care of people who have been folding cloth for 30 years and see no reason to rush the ending of this one. A bread seller has almost nothing left and is regarding his last 3 loaves with quiet satisfaction. Lamps have been lit throughout the market. They hang from poles, from stall awnings, from the hands of people walking home with 1 lamp between them. The whole market glows in patches, warm amber between long stretches of blue dark. The children reappear. They have found a second cat, smaller than the first, younger, less experienced in the procedures of the evening market. It makes the error of hesitating. They get slightly closer than before. It corrects itself sharply and disappears between two stalls. The laughter follows it, then fades, moving away. You walk on slowly. The market fills with the sounds of its own closing, clay stacked against clay, a rolled mat dragged across stone. Somewhere a small child, not one of the running ones, sits very still on a blanket beside her mother's stall, already almost asleep, held up only by the ambient interest of being somewhere with other people. She is losing that battle. It is a very peaceful battle to lose. You understand it completely. Around you the last lamps flicker. Footsteps thin out, voices lower. The night takes more and more of the market back into itself, kindly, the way night always does. Your own feet slow. You stop noticing the sounds one by one. The cloth, the voices, the distant laughter of children and their endless, unhurried cats, until there is nothing left but your own breath and the soft dark in your eyes, which are already closing. Hammurabi 11, the ziggurat ahead. You see it from a distance first. You are walking a wide avenue. The stones beneath your feet are flat and pale, laid with care, worn with use. Date palms line either side, their fronds very still. And at the end of the avenue, filling the place where sky meets earth, the ziggurat rises. It is larger than you expect. This always happens. You have seen it from across the canal, from market corners, from doorways, and still walking toward it directly, it manages to be larger than you prepared for. Some things insist on their own scale. You slow your pace. There is no rush. There is never any rush here. The avenue leads to a broad plaza, and you walk into it slowly, the way you might walk into deep water, feeling it change around you. The plaza is open on all sides to the sky. The night sky is very clear. Stars crowd every part of it, and the ziggurat stands at the plaza's far edge, its great base beginning where the paving ends. You stop in the middle of the plaza. You simply look. The structure rises in 4 great terraces. Each one is set back from the one below, so it stacks like something considered, something that decided at each stage to keep going. The stone is pale. In the lamplight it holds a faint warmth, the last of the day's heat still releasing slowly into the night air. Around the base, shallow fires burn in iron bowls. Their light moves. The shadows on the lower walls move with it, slow and enormous. Somewhere high above, near the summit, a single lamp burns, fixed, quiet, steady in a way the fires below are not. You walk toward the base. The plaza here is scented with cedar smoke, and something sweeter beneath it. Oil, perhaps, burned in the upper precincts, drifting down. It is a slow smell. It takes its time reaching you. You do not mind. At the base of the ziggurat, the walls are wide and close. You place one hand against the stone. It is still warm from the day as you expected. The texture is even, smooth where hands have touched it often, slightly rougher elsewhere. You hold your palm there for a moment. The stone holds you back, gently, with the calm patience of something very old. Small votive offerings rest in a niche beside the stairway. Clay figures mostly. A few dried flowers, a small oil lamp burned down, its work complete. One offering is simply a polished river stone left by someone who had nothing else and thought a beautiful stone might do. It would do. It does very well. You stand at the foot of the stairs and look up. The steps rise in a long, slow angle. They are wide. They are worn at the center by decades of careful ascent, and the night above them is very deep and very full of stars. The cedar smoke drifts past you and rises. You breathe it in slowly and let it go. And around you the plaza settles, the fires burn without hurry, and the great pale weight of the ziggurat rests quietly on the earth it has always stood upon. Patient, solid, not going anywhere at all. Scene 12. Priests on the stairway. You see them on the third terrace. 3 figures moving upward in single file. Their robes are white, a deep soft white that catches the lamplight at intervals and then releases it as they move into shadow. They climb slowly. They are not tired. Slowness is the practice. Slowness is, in fact, the point. You watch from the plaza below. The stairway rises at the Ziggurat's southern face, broad and deliberate. The priests ascend without hurry, without sound that reaches you. Their robes move slightly with each step. One carries a covered vessel held at both hands, the way you carry something that matters. Another carries a tall lamp on a thin pole. The third carries nothing visible and walks with the particular dignity of a person who has learned that composure is itself a kind of offering. You find yourself breathing more slowly as you watch. There is something in the rhythm of their climbing. Step, pause, step. The lamp sways just slightly, just enough to remind you it is flame inside and not stone. The terrace above them holds a low stone railing, and as they approach it, they pass through a narrow gate and disappear. The lamp lingers. Then it too is gone. You stand for a moment in the quiet they have left behind. It is a full kind of quiet. Not empty, the way a room still holds the warmth of whoever was sitting in it. You begin to climb. The steps are wide and your feet find them easily. Each one is low enough that the ascent feels like walking, not effort. The stone beneath your sandals is smooth and cool. On either side the walls of the terrace rise, and between them the night sky narrows to a long stripe of stars. You reach the first terrace. It is wider than you expect. A broad path runs along the outer edge. Lamps burn in clay holders set into the wall at intervals. Somewhere out of sight, incense, actual incense now, not just cedar smoke, sits in a burner and releases a thin, pale thread into the air. A priest is seated at the wall's edge. He is old. He is looking out at the city below with the expression of a man who has looked at the same view for 40 years and still finds it satisfactory. He does not acknowledge you. This is not rudeness. He is simply, very thoroughly, elsewhere. You do not disturb him. You walk to the outer edge yourself and look out. Babylon spreads below you, lamp by lamp, rooftop by rooftop, the canal threads catching light, the river dark beyond everything, the market somewhere still glowing, the avenue you walked, long and pale, leading back into the city's quiet heart. From here, the city looks exactly like what it is. A great and careful arrangement of things that matter. You lean on the stone railing, which is solid, which has held 1,000 leaning priests, and look out at the lights, and the city breathes below you, and you breathe with it, in through the nose, out through the mouth, until your eyes soften and the city becomes simply light and dark, and your breath slows into something dimmer and deeper, and very, very still. Scene 13, the Ziggurat summit. The final steps bring you out into open sky. You pause at the top. The summit is a flat platform, wider than it appeared from below. The night presses close here. The city is further away. The stars are nearer, or they seem nearer. Perhaps that is the same thing. You step forward onto the platform. The stone beneath your feet is smooth and faintly cool. It has been swept clean. This is someone's job, sweeping the summit of the Ziggurat, and whoever holds it takes it seriously. There is not a petal, not a grain of dust out of place. You feel a small admiration for that person, whoever they are. A small shrine occupies the far end of the platform. It is simple in proportion to its setting, which is vast. 4 columns support a narrow roof. Inside, a lamp burns. Inside, offerings rest on a low stone table. Oil, grain, flowers still fresh. The lamp's light reaches out onto the platform, a warm circle that doesn't quite extend to where you stand. You stand at the platform's edge instead. The parapet comes to your waist. You place both hands on it and look out. The view is complete from here. The city lies below in every direction. The great avenues run outward like the spokes of something purposeful. The canals catch the moonlight. The river is a wide, dark movement to the west, patient and enormous. Two astronomers are working at the platform's center. They sit beside a low stone instrument you do not entirely understand. One records on a clay tablet, pressing marks with careful regularity. The other watches the sky with an attention so focused it seems almost rude to be in the same space. You respect this. You stay near the edge. The wind at this height is gentle. It carries almost nothing, just the cool of the upper air and the very faint suggestion of cedar from far below. Your robe moves slightly at the hem. Your hair moves. Everything else is still. You look straight up. The sky from the summit of the Ziggurat is a different kind of dark than street-level dark. It is deeper. It goes further back. Stars that were faint from below are clearly visible from here, entire fields of them spreading toward the edges of what eyes can hold. You find yourself trying to count them. This is, of course, impossible, and you know it immediately. But the impulse is understandable. Some things are so full they ask you to begin. The astronomer with the tablet pauses. He glances up at the sky, back at his tablet, up again. He makes one small mark. He seems satisfied. He does not celebrate. He has found the thing he was looking for and written it down, which is its own kind of completion. You lean on the parapet and let the sky be large. And it is. And the city is small below and quiet, and the lamp in the shrine behind you burns without moving, steady as a thing that knows exactly where it is, and the light from it reaches you now, slowly, warmly, dimming at the edges, dimming. Scene 14, Jupiter. Above the rooftop. You are on a different rooftop now, smaller than the Ziggurat, more ordinary. This is the rooftop of a house near the eastern quarter, a modest house, well kept, whose owner has placed a low wooden bench at the parapet's edge and a small brazier nearby for the cool of the late evening. You sit on the bench. The brazier holds coals, not flames. It breathes out a quiet heat, steady, undemanding. Beside it, someone has left a cup. You look inside it. Water, simply. You are glad it is water. You look up. The sky from a rooftop at night in Babylon is a very fine sky. You have by now looked at it from the Ziggurat's summit, and this is different. Lower, closer to the warmth of the city, more intimate. You can hear faintly the sounds of the street below. A door, a voice, briefly. The city is not quite finished with its evening. You find Jupiter immediately. It is not difficult. It is the brightest thing in the southern sky that does not flicker. Stars flicker a little at the edges of your attention. Jupiter does not. Jupiter is settled in its brightness. Jupiter has, frankly, a certain confidence about it. You watch it for a while. Below you in the city, a scribe named something is almost certainly making a note about Jupiter's position. This is his job. He will measure its angle, mark it on clay, and add it to a record that has been kept continuously for longer than most dynasties. He will do this without drama. He will probably then eat something. You do not need to take notes. You only need to look. The planet holds its place. The stars around it are fainter companions, arranged at intervals with the indifference of deep space, which arranges nothing deliberately and still manages to be beautiful. You pick out the ones you know. You notice the ones you do not. You decide quietly that you do not need to know all of them. The coals in the brazier shift slightly. A small sound. A small glow. The heat continues. Your legs rest easy. Your shoulders settle. You lean back against the bench's backboard, which is exactly the right height, which the owner of this house arranged carefully and correctly. The night deepens around you. Jupiter does not move, not so you can see it, not in the time you have been watching, but it will move. Slowly, across the nights and weeks, it will trace its arc through this part of the sky and continue. The scribes will follow it. They have always followed it. For now it is simply there, bright and still, your fixed point in a turning sky. You breathe out. You let your eyes lose their focus just a little. Jupiter blurs softly at the edge of being a point of light. Around it the sky dims at the margins of your sight, the dark deepening, the stars gentling, the southern sky growing softer and wider and quieter, and the rooftop falls away beneath you into warmth. And the night comes down, and the light dims to a single warm point far above, and then to nothing at all. Scene 15, the household shrine. You find it in a small room at the back of the house. The door is open. You do not need to knock. This is not that kind of room. It is meant to be entered quietly, at any hour, without announcement. You step inside. The room is small. That is correct. Shrines of this kind are not meant to impress. They are meant to be near. This one is a square room, perhaps 4 steps across, its walls plastered smooth and painted with a warm ochre. A low shelf runs along the far wall. On the shelf, the household gods. They are small clay figures, 4 of them. They have been here for some time. You can tell by the way they sit, settled, familiar, at ease with each other and with the shelf. They have the posture of figures who are not going anywhere, and are fine with that. One has a small chip on its base from an incident no one in this household speaks of. A lamp burns at the end of the shelf. It is a simple clay lamp, filled with sesame oil. The flame is very small and very steady. There is no draft in this room. The flame does not waver. It has burned like this, at this size, at this steadiness, for most of the evening. Dried herbs hang above the shelf, bundles of them, tied with strips of cloth, their scent slow and faint, something like thyme, something cooler. They have been here long enough to fade, but not long enough to lose their use. You sit on the low cushion in the room's center. Someone placed it there for sitting. That is what it is for. You sit, and the cushion is soft, and the room is the right temperature. Not warm, not cool, simply even. You look at the figures on the shelf. There is something comfortable about their presence. They ask nothing of you. They are not dramatic. They are the gods of this household, of the cooking fire, of the door, of the stores of grain, of sleep. Particularly tonight, the god of sleep seems well positioned, front and center, alert to duty. The lamp casts a circle on the wall behind the shelf. The circle holds all 4 figures inside it. Outside the circle, the wall is a deep, soft dark. You notice the boundary between lamplight and shadow. It is not sharp, it is gradual, the way all good boundaries are. The light does not cut the dark. It simply fades into it, kindly, without argument. Your breath finds the room. The room is already very quiet. Your breath enters that quiet and becomes part of it. In through the nose, slow, out through the mouth, slower. The lamp flame does not move. The figures rest on their shelf. The chip on the base of the leftmost figure catches a small edge of light. The dried herbs release their last faint scent into the room, and the silence that fills this small room spreads, out through the open door, down the hallway, into the house, into the street, into the city, which is sleeping now, all of it, lamp by lamp going out, breath by breath going slow, and the spreading silence takes everything gently, and there is nothing left to hear. Scene 16. Drifting on the Euphrates, you are on the river, not sailing, not rowing, simply drifting on a flat raft of bundled reeds in the middle of the Euphrates on a windless night. Someone, thoughtful, practical, has laid a woven mat on the reeds. You are lying on it now. You are looking up. The sky above the river is wide open in a way the sky above the city is not. No walls here, no rooftops, just the full dark arc of it, from bank to bank, edge to edge. The river moves slowly. That is the first thing you understand about the Euphrates at night. It is not in a hurry. It has been moving south toward the sea for longer than the city has existed, and it has learned a certain patience about the journey. It takes the raft with it, gently, with authority. You feel the movement in your back. Not rocking. The river is calm tonight, its surface nearly flat. It is more like a long, slow breathing. A rise, a settling, a rise again. Very gradual, very even. The raft holds you. The river holds the raft. On the west bank, the city lights pass, torches on the quay walls, a lantern hung in a warehouse doorway, the glow of some quarter where evening still lingers. They slide past at the river's pace, which is not fast, which is just right. You watch them without effort. You do not need to memorize them. The stars reflect in the water around you. Not perfectly. The river is not glass, but enough. Broken points of light, shifting slightly with the current, rearranging themselves without distress into slightly different constellations. The sky's reflection, pleasantly edited. A bird calls once from the eastern bank, a single note, nothing more. The bird has said what it needed to say. The silence after it is fuller than the silence before it somehow. Your hands rest open at your sides. There is no need to hold anything. The raft does not require your grip. The river does not require your attention. You are cargo, well loaded, in no danger. The Euphrates has carried considerably heavier things and managed perfectly well. The current finds a slow bend. The raft turns very slightly to follow it. You watch the stars overhead shift, just a degree or two, as your direction adjusts. The city lights drift to a new angle. The river widens at the bend, its sound dropping lower, spreading out. Your shoulders meet the mat below them. The reed raft breathes. Out on the water, the night is so quiet you can hear the river's voice clearly. Not a sound exactly, more of a presence. A low, continuous murmur, carrying nothing but itself, going the only direction it knows, in no hurry, under all these stars. The city slips behind you. The river carries you forward into dark water and open sky, and the sound of the current slows beneath you and grows softer and becomes only a low, even hum at the edge of hearing. And then the river takes that too, and there is only the slow drift and the dark and the deep. Scene 17. Passing under the bridge. The raft takes you forward. You are still on the water, still lying on the woven mat. The reed raft moves without effort, the current holding it in a long, patient glide. Ahead, you see the bridge. It is the great bridge of Babylon, the one that joins the two halves of the city across the river. You have heard of it. You have perhaps crossed it in the daylight. At night, from the water, it is different. It is very large. It is very old. It was placed here with considerable intention. You watch it come closer. This is not alarming. The bridge is wide. The current knows the center channel well. The raft will pass through as it has always passed through, as every raft and every boat has passed through on every night for generations. The bridge is accustomed to being passed under. The piers are stone. They enter the water cleanly, without drama. The river parts around them and rejoins on the other side, as water does, without taking it personally. On the bridge above, you hear a single set of footsteps, a guard perhaps, or someone walking home late, someone who did not quite plan their evening correctly. The shadow arrives before the stone does. You enter the bridge's shade. The stars disappear above you. The sky closes over. In their place, the underside of the bridge, massive fitted stones, dark with age and river damp. They arch above you in a long, low vault. You float through the vault slowly. The sound of the river changes here. It rounds and softens inside the stone's curvature, turns into a low resonance, a hum that is part water and part chamber. It is like being held. That is the honest way to say it. The bridge above, the river below, the stone on either side, you are briefly contained, and the containment is not a closing in. It is a steadying, a warmth, a quiet that is a different quality from the open sky quiet, more enclosed, more complete. Water drips from a joint in the stone somewhere to your left. One drip, a pause, another drip. The pause between them is steady, almost deliberate, almost like a clock, if a clock were also a river and also ancient stone. Drip, pause, drip. Your eyes trace the stones above. Each one has been shaped and set by someone. You do not know their names, no one does entirely. But someone carried each block to this place and fitted it with care, and the care is still here. You can see it in how the stones sit, how the arch holds. The other side begins to show ahead, a pale arc of night sky growing slowly. Stars return one by one at the edge of the arch. The raft moves through. You leave the bridge behind. The full sky opens above you again, and the drip of the water fades behind you. One drop, one more, and then only distance, and the sound slows and gentles, and you breathe out, and the silence of the open river returns and holds. Scene 18, the Royal Gardens at midnight. You step off the path and into the gardens. No one stops you. The hour is late. The gardens at midnight belong, quietly and without formal declaration, to whoever finds them. You find them. The royal gardens are laid out in long terraces beyond the eastern palace wall. You are at their ground level now, entering from a wide stone gate. Ahead of you the plantings begin, not wild, not tangled, ordered, each tree given space, each bed edged in clean-cut stone. Babylon's gardeners are proud people who take the straight line seriously. The smell reaches you first, something flowering nearby that blooms specifically at night. You do not know its name. It is sweet without being heavy. There, that word is used now, once correctly, for a scent that earns it. And it comes and goes on the still air as you walk. Present, then absent, then present again, as though the garden is deciding how much to offer. Cedar trees stand in a row to your left. They were brought from the mountains at considerable trouble and expense. They are very tall. They know they are very tall. Each one stands with the quiet dignity of something that has traveled far and decided it is satisfied with where it arrived. You walk the central path. The stone beneath your feet is pale. In the moonlight, it shows every edge. You follow it between the rows of plantings, fig trees, date palms, flowering things whose names are known to the gardeners but not to you. The leaves are dark and still. A fountain sounds ahead. It is modest, a stone basin with a low jet, steady, returning to itself. The sound of it carries in the night air with perfect clarity. You reach it. You sit on the basin's edge. The water falls. Each drop catches the moonlight briefly at the top of its arc, then loses it. The basin is half full. The moonlight sits flat on the surface, moved slightly by the ripples, but mostly settled. You put one hand near the water without quite touching it. The cool of it reaches up before contact. That small gap of temperature, that announcement of coldness is enough. A moth passes through the air beside you. One pass, silent, pale-winged, unhurried. The moth has no opinion of you. The moth has a full schedule and cannot pause. You respect this. The garden holds its arrangement around you. Rows and beds and paths, all running toward their correct ends. The planners of this garden believed in a cared-for world, and their belief is still here in every shaped edge, every chosen tree, every plant set precisely where it can best be itself. You breathe in, you breathe out. The fountain continues its small, complete report. The cedar trees stand in their patient row. The flowering thing releases another quiet wave of scent into the midnight air, and the garden goes still around you, and still and stiller, and the last breath goes out long and slow, and the night holds all of it perfectly without effort. Scene 19, the moonlit palace courtyard. You come through an archway into the courtyard. You know immediately that this is the right place to be. Not because of grandeur, though there is some, because of proportion. The courtyard is the right size, large enough to hold the sky, small enough to feel enclosed. Someone designed this carefully. Someone understood how space works on a person standing alone inside it at night. The moon is high, it is nearly full, or full enough that the difference does not matter. It hangs above the south wall's edge and fills the courtyard with a light that has no source you can point to directly. The courtyard is simply luminous. The pale stone floor, the plastered walls with their painted borders, all of it visible softly by light that costs nothing. A colonnade runs along the eastern side, carved columns, evenly spaced. Between them, the shadows fall in long, regular intervals. Shadow, light, like a slow pattern, like something being counted out. You walk the colonnade. Your footsteps sound small in the courtyard's open air. You count the columns as you pass them. 1, 2, 3. You stop counting at 3. It is enough. At the courtyard's center there is a long, low pool. The pool is narrow and still. It runs north to south, catching the moonlight on its length. The reflection in it is almost precise. The moon above, the moon below, the south wall reflected. You stand at the pool's edge and look down. Your own outline is there, faint, looking back up. You and your reflection consider each other briefly, without judgment, and arrive at no conclusions. Potted trees stand at each corner of the courtyard, shaped, attended to, alive. Their shadows point away from the moon in 4 long lines. You notice the geometry of this. The gardener who placed those trees knew about shadows and placed them anyway, which suggests a certain confidence. A cat sits on the pool's far edge. Of course there is a cat. There is always a cat in a palace courtyard. This one is white, or near enough by moonlight, and is engaged in an internal calculation that it does not share with you. It registers your presence. It decides this is acceptable. It looks away. You sit cross-legged on the stone at the pool's edge. The stone is smooth and cool. Your hands rest on your knees. The moon's reflection on the water is directly in front of you, still settled. You breathe. The colonnade holds its shadows. The potted trees hold their shapes. The cat completes its calculation and begins washing one ear with a seriousness that suggests the ear has done something to deserve it. The courtyard holds all of this without trouble. The moon holds the courtyard in its light, and the light thins, very slowly, a softening, a gentling at the edges, the shadows in the colonnade losing their sharpness, the reflection in the pool going quieter, and the courtyard dims by degrees, and the stone floor goes soft beneath you, and the moonlight dims and dims and dims, until only the warmth of it remains, and even that slowly, softly lets go. Scene 20. The hanging gardens. From below you are standing at the base of the gardens. Your neck is tilted back. You are looking up. Above you the hanging gardens rise in terraces, tier above tier, each one planted full, each one trailing long green growth down over its stone edges. From here, from below, it is like standing at the base of a cliff that has decided to be a forest. The stone is barely visible. Everywhere there is green, and the green is alive in the faint night air. The lowest tier begins just above your head. You can reach up without quite touching it. You do this. Your hand rises. The tips of your fingers brush something, a vine, hanging loose, cool and alive. A single leaf turns against your palm. You lower your hand. That is enough. Water sounds above you. The gardens are irrigated by a system of wheels and channels, a mechanism that runs quietly all through the night, lifting river water tier by tier to the highest planting beds. You can hear it. Not the machinery exactly. The result of it, small streams finding their edges, running along stone channels, reaching their spill points and falling water above you, finding the next level, then the next. The sound of it coming down through all those tiers of green is like rain heard from inside a warm room. The same rhythm, softer than actual rain, more deliberate, each fall measured, each channel doing its exact work. The smell of the gardens at night is deep. Soil and greenery and water, not any single scent but all of them together, layered the way the terraces are layered. The bottom notes are earth. Above that, something leafy and cool. Above that, something flowering. You stand in all of it at once. It comes down over you the way the vines come down. You take one step back to see it better. From here, the whole structure rises above you, tier upon tier into the dark, each level lit faintly by the moonlight catching its edges, the green showing pale silver where the light finds it, deeper black where it does not. It keeps going up. You count what you can see. You lose count. You decide that losing count is the correct response. Babylon built this for someone who missed her mountains. That is what they say. That a king built this for a queen who came from green hills and found the flat plain of Babylon too bare. You think about this. You think it is among the more reasonable things a person has ever done. You sit on a low stone bench that faces the base of the structure. Your back straightens, then settles. Your hands come to rest. The water falls above you through all its terraces, patient and continuous. The vines hang, the leaves hold very still in the windless air. The scent of the gardens moves down around you. Your eyes travel upward one last time, tier by tier, level by level, up through the green and the stone and the running water, up to where the highest tier meets the stars. And you breathe in all of it once more, and your eyes close, and the sound of falling water grows softer and softer, and the gardens fold you in, and the green dark comes down, and your eyes do not open again. Scene 21, rooftop over all Babylon. You climb the last step, and the city opens. It is there, all of it, in every direction. You stand on a flat rooftop and Babylon spreads out from under your feet. The Euphrates runs through the middle of it, catching the last of the dusk in a long, slow curve. On both sides of the river, the city extends, block after block of pale rooftops, torch-lit streets, the dark shapes of palms, the bright shapes of temples. You walk slowly to the rooftop's edge. There is a low wall there. You lean against it. It is just the right height to rest your forearms on, which is probably not an accident. Someone spent time on this city, many someones, across many generations. Babylon was not built so much as accumulated, like sediment, like something that wanted to be here. You rest your forearms on the wall and look out. The streets below are quieting, not empty, but quieting. You can see small figures moving at intersections, lamplight shifting as someone passes a doorway, the brief orange flare of a torch being transferred from one hand to another. The city is doing what cities do in the evening, slowing, settling. The great Ziggurat is visible from here. It rises at the city's heart, stepped and massive, and at its top there is a chamber that catches the last of the light. Even from this distance, in this dimness, you can see the glazed tiles on its upper terraces. Blue, deep blue, the kind of blue that was expensive and they used it anyway. Good for them, you think. The Euphrates is silver now. The dusk has reached that stage where water holds the light longer than anything else. It threads through the city and continues past it, going south toward the sea, carrying whatever a river carries. Silt, seeds, rumors. You watch it for a while. It moves without hurry. It has somewhere to be and it will get there. Behind you, the sky is still pale at the horizon. Ahead of you, the first stars are appearing. Not many yet. Enough. You turn slowly in place and take in all of it. The river, the temples, the torchlit streets, the darkening sky with its early stars. The warm air of the city rises around you, carrying the smell of bread and oil and the river mud that underlies everything. This is the smell of Babylon. You let it settle around you. You are not in a hurry. You have come up here to look, and you are looking, and that is the whole purpose, and it is sufficient. You lean a little more into the low wall. Your shoulders drop. Your breath goes even. Below you, the city continues its long evening work. Fires are lit in courtyards. Torches are planted in their brackets along the wide avenues. The river goes on, and the sky above you fills in, star by star, and your breath slows to match it. One star, then another, then several you cannot count individually, only together, and your eyes move across the sky more and more slowly until they hold one point of light, and then they do not move at all. Scene 22. Finding a room near the temple. You follow the street as it curves toward the temple precinct. The precinct wall runs along your left side. It is warm from the day. You can feel the heat of it from a foot away, radiating slowly, giving back what it was given. You walk close enough to feel this without touching the stone. There is an inn nearby. You knew this, or were told, or perhaps simply knew. The warmth spreads immediately through your hands and then up your wrists. You hold it for a moment before drinking. The warmth is worth noticing before anything else. Then you drink. The broth is very good, not complicated, not trying to be several things at once, just warm and deep and correctly salted. You take your time with it. There is nowhere to be. There is no next thing after this, only the mat and the lamp and the open window and eventually sleep. You eat the flat bread in small pieces, unhurried. Between sips, you rest the bowl on your knee and look at the window. The top of the ziggurat is visible. A few stars have appeared in the square of sky above the precinct wall. The small lamp on the ledge does not flicker. It burns with a steadiness that seems deliberate, as though it too has decided to be calm tonight. The date drink is sweet, not too sweet. Someone pressed it carefully. You think briefly about whoever cooked this broth, whoever was in the kitchen this evening, tending the pot, adding the green herb at the right moment. You think about all the small decisions that add up to a bowl of very good broth arriving in a room at precisely the right time. It is a kind of craft. You finish the broth. You set the bowl on the table. You are warm through your hands and your chest and your middle in the particular way that warm food produces. A steadiness, a ballast. You sit for a moment more. The lamp burns on. The steam from the bowl thins, and then there is no more steam. Your hands rest open on your knees. Your shoulders have dropped without you choosing to drop them. The bread is gone. The cup is empty. Your body takes a long, slow breath inward, and then releases it, and the warmth moves through you in a long, spreading wave, and the wave does not pull back. Scene 24. Lying down, river sounds outside, you lower yourself onto the mat. It receives you the way a good mat does, not hard, not yielding too far, simply there. You arrange yourself slowly, first on your back, arms at your sides. Then one arm moves to rest across your middle, which feels better. That is the final arrangement. The linen is smooth, cool first, then warming where your body meets it. The low platform puts you close to the floor, but not on it. Someone in Babylon understood the correct height for sleeping, and this mat is the result of that understanding. The lamp on the ledge is still burning. You watch its light on the ceiling for a moment. It is steady and amber, and it does not ask anything of you. The shadows at the ceiling's edges are fixed. Everything is where it was when you came in. Then you hear the river. You did not notice it before. You were eating, you were moving, you were a person still in motion. Now you are still and horizontal, and in the stillness the sound finds you. It comes through the high window, the Euphrates, not far away, running south. The sound it makes is continuous. Not loud, not a sound you would call water if you had to identify it without knowing. More a texture of sound, a long, low, smoothed-out sound that contains movement the way sleep contains dreams. Not visibly, but there. You breathe in time with it, without deciding to. Somewhere outside, a night bird calls once. The river continues. A boat is moving on the water. You think you can hear it, or perhaps you cannot. Perhaps you are only imagining the soft sound of a hull on river water, someone crossing the Euphrates in a small vessel at this late hour, going from one side of the city to the other, carrying something or returning to something. Doing a river errand that the river does not consider unusual at all. The lamplight at the ceiling dims very slightly. The oil is what it is and the night is long. Your body has made a kind of agreement with the mat. The agreement is that you are staying. Your heels are still. Your shoulders are still. Your hands are still. One at your side, one resting across your middle, rising and falling in very small increments with your breath. The river is still talking. It talks through the window without pause, the same long continuous sound, not a word in it, not a beginning or an end, only the middle of a thing that started long before Babylon was here and will continue long after the last lamp in the city has been put out. You think this only briefly, then you do not think it anymore. Your breath finds the river's rhythm and stays there, in and out, and the sound of the water fills the room, and the room fills with it, the way a bowl fills. And the lamplight thins at the edges of the ceiling, amber going to gold, gold going to something softer, and the river sounds come and come and come, and underneath them you go still. Scene 25. Night watchmen on their rounds. You hear them before you see them. A footstep, then another. Then the soft sound of a staff touching stone at regular intervals. One step, staff down, one step, staff down. A rhythm as steady as something mechanical, except it is just a man walking, which is more reliable than any mechanism. You are at your window again, sitting on the ledge, looking out. Two watchmen are crossing the street below. They move at the pace of people who have an entire night ahead of them and intend to use all of it at exactly this speed. Not slow from laziness, slow from professionalism. There's a difference, and these two embody it. They are the difference. The first watchman carries a lamp on a pole. It lights the street around them in a circle of amber. You watch the circle move with them, the pool of light traveling over paving stones, over the base of a wall, over a water jar someone has left outside their door. The circle of light includes everything it reaches and abandons it calmly as they continue. The second watchman notices the water jar. He looks at it, looks at the door above it, makes a note of it in whatever part of his mind keeps notes. He says something to the first watchman. You cannot hear the words. The first watchman nods without breaking his stride. The jar is seen and documented, and that is sufficient. Tomorrow it can explain itself. You lean on the windowsill. Below, the watchmen are moving away down the street now. Their lamplight is going with them. You watch the circle of light retreat. The street behind it returns to its own darkness. The comfortable darkness of a street that has been walked by watchmen and found in order. The sound of the staff on stone gets softer. One step, staff down, one step. You can still hear it when you can no longer see the lamp. It comes to you around a corner, around a building, through the still air of the night. The Euphrates underneath it, steady. The faint chant from the temple precinct, even fainter than before. A second pair of watchmen crosses a parallel street to the north. You can see the top of their lamp only, moving behind a roofline, appearing for a moment at a gap between buildings, disappearing again. Another circle of amber, another steady pace. The city is in good hands tonight. It has put itself in good hands and is resting accordingly. You pull back from the window. The room is as you left it. The mat, the lamp, low now, the oil nearly spent. The empty bowl on the table. The linen pulled back where you rose from it. You return to the mat. You lie down again. From outside, the sound of a staff on stone comes once more, distant, going further. Then there is only the river and the quiet and the breathing of a city doing what a city does when it trusts the night. And the footsteps go, and then they are gone. And the silence they leave behind spreads gently over everything. Over the streets and the river and the rooftops in this small room, and over you. Scene 26, the city quieting street by street. You are on the roof, not the roof of anywhere important, just your roof. The low parapet around its edge comes to your waist. You rest your arms on it and look out over the city, and the city looks the way a city looks when it is beginning to remember that sleep exists. Below you, a street vendor is packing away his things. He does this with great economy of movement. Every action has been done before. The cloth goes this way, the goods go here, The pole folds like so. He has packed this away 10,000 times, and he will pack it away 10,000 more, and tonight is indistinguishable from all the others, which is exactly how he prefers it. He lifts the bundle, he turns, he walks away. The street he leaves is quiet. You watch it happen in sections. First, the south quarter, where the workers and the families with young children have settled early. Windows there have been dark for an hour already. Then the merchant streets, which stay lit longer because merchants are the kind of people who believe there is always one more thing to be done before sleeping. There is never one more thing. They sleep like everyone else. You hear a voice 2 streets over, someone calling a child in from wherever children go in the evening. The child's reply comes back, shorter, slightly aggrieved. Then a door. Then that street too goes soft. The wind picks up for a moment. It moves across the rooftop and takes a loose piece of cloth with it, and the cloth makes a single snapping sound and settles. The wind continues south toward the river, and you track it by sound. The rustle of a palm tree on one street, the creak of a sign on another, then nothing, then the faint churn of the Euphrates receiving it. The wind is doing its rounds, professionally. Up here you can see lamps in windows. There are fewer than there were when you came up here. You have been watching long enough to notice the reduction. A window that was orange before is now dark. Another one, halfway down the eastern avenue, where someone read by lamp for a long time, has just gone out. You did not see it go. You only noticed the space where it was. The space is unremarkable. The city fills it without effort. You look further out, toward the great processional avenue, where the torches on their stands burn long and attended. Those will go last. The avenue does not sleep the way streets sleep. But even there, even on the great road of the city, the movement has slowed. No procession, no crowds, just torches in a long line, just the avenue, empty and luminous. You breathe the night air. It carries dust and river water and something faintly sweet, bread still warm somewhere from an oven that has not cooled. You breathe it again. Below you another lamp goes dark, and another, and the city folds inward, the way a flower does. Slowly, without resistance, street by street it pulls its light in close, and breathes. Scene 27, lamps extinguished one by one. You are inside now. The room is comfortable in its familiar way, the mat, the low table, the ledge with its lamp. The lamp is burning still. You lit it when the evening began, and you have not thought about it since, which is the correct relationship to have with a lamp. It has been faithful. You have been oblivious. It worked out well. But now you think about it. You are sitting near it, not doing anything in particular. Just sitting, which is an undervalued activity. The flame is small and steady. The oil in the clay reservoir is low. You can see this if you look closely. The way the flame has dropped a little from where it was, the way it breathes in smaller movements. Through the window you can see the house across the narrow lane. Their lamp is in their window, the way yours is in yours. 2 lamps looking at each other across 12 feet of darkness. This has been true all evening. It is a companionable arrangement. You have never spoken to whoever tends that lamp. You are in agreement about light anyway. As you watch, their flame goes out. Not blown, just finished. The oil, like yours, decided it was time. The window across the lane goes dark, and the darkness there is not empty. It is just a room where someone has gone to sleep. The lamp did what lamps do, and now the room is doing what rooms do, and there's a sequence to this that you find settling. You lean back. In the distance you hear, or imagine you hear, other lamps reaching their ends. It is not a sound you can actually hear. Flames going out are quiet, but you know it is happening across the city. All the little dishes of oil, all the little wicks, all the faithful small fires that have kept the night at a civilized distance, are one by one arriving at their limits, and the dark comes in, not cold dark, warm dark, Babylon's dark, which has been softened by 10,000 fires all evening and still holds some of that warmth the way a stone holds sun. Your lamp bends. The flame leans sideways without any wind to justify it, which is something flames do when they choose. And you have learned not to ask why. It leans, then it straightens, then it shrinks to something very small, very blue at the base, very gold at the tip. A precise and small and serious flame. You watch it for a while. It watches you back in the way that flames do not watch but seem to. You breathe in, the flame does not move. You breathe out. The flame leans very slightly in the direction of your breath. Somewhere across the city, another lamp goes out, and another past that one, and somewhere further still, one more, and the dark between the remaining lights is gentle, and your lamp breathes its last small breath, and the room receives the dark, and you receive it too. Scene 28. Only the Euphrates still moves. The city has gone quiet, not all at once. You were there for the gradual part, the winding down, the lamps in the streets and the last voices settling, but now that is done. The quiet has arrived completely. You notice it the way you notice a sound stopping only after it has stopped, the silence of Babylon at deep night. It is not an empty silence, it is a full one. You are near the river now. You moved there without quite deciding to, the way people move toward water at night, following something below thought, below intention, following the sound of it. The Euphrates pulled you here, and you went, and that is all there is to say about that. You stand on a low bank. The ground beneath your feet is soft, river-softened earth, cool through your sandals. The reeds along the edge make a sound when the water touches them. A small, continuous rustling, not loud, not quiet, simply there in the way the river is simply there. The river is moving. This is the thing about the river. Everything in the city is still now, and the river continues. It was moving before the city was here. It will be moving after everyone currently asleep in Babylon has finished all the sleeping they will ever do. It is an ongoing project with no completion date. This thought is either very large or very small. At this hour you are not sure which and do not particularly need to decide. You crouch at the bank. The water is dark and surface smooth here, away from the current's middle. You can see the sky in it, not the stars clearly, but the impression of stars, scattered light, the sky's suggestion of itself on the water. The real stars are above you. The approximate stars are below in the river. You exist between them briefly. This seems fine. A fish moves somewhere under the surface. You see the water change for a moment, a small disruption, then smooth again. The fish has its own schedule. The fish is not interested in the hour or the quiet or the fact that an entire city has just gone to sleep above it. The fish has river business. You sit back on the bank. The mud is cool, the air is cool. The river continues its one long note, that low, smooth sound that has no beginning and no end. Only this, only the middle, only the water passing. A night heron stands on a rock not far away. You did not see it before. It has been there the whole time. It does not acknowledge you. It is a serious bird with a serious occupation, which is standing on rocks and being herons. It is very good at this. You listen to the water. You let the sound fill the space between your thoughts until the thoughts have very little room left. And the river moves, and the heron stands, and the stars and their reflections hold the city between them, and the water talks on and on in its low, continuous voice. And there is nothing you need to do but hear it. Scene 29. A final walk to the river's edge. You rise from the bank. Your legs find themselves under you without much effort from you. The night has made you slow in a comfortable way, not heavy, simply unhurried, as though each movement takes exactly as long as it wants to take, and you have agreed not to interfere. You walk along the edge of the river. The path here is worn smooth, many feet before yours, and the feet of the city going back generations. You place your feet on it and join the long procession of people who have walked this same strip of earth at this same hour, breathing this same river air, thinking whatever people think when they walk by the Euphrates alone at night. Probably not that different from what you are thinking, which is nearly nothing, a soft nothing, a pleasant nothing. The river is on your left, always on your left, and you let the sound of it walk with you. You have already heard it tonight from your window, from the bank, from the near sleep place where sound and dream begin to overlap. And yet it sounds different now, closer, moving with you, a companion on this final walk that requires no conversation from either of you. A torch burns at the landing ahead. Someone left it burning for the night ferryman, or perhaps for people like you, walking after the city has slept, arriving at the river's edge by instinct. The torch throws a long orange stripe onto the water. The stripe moves with the current, breaks apart, reforms. It is endlessly patient about this. You stop at the landing. The dock extends a short way into the water. The planks are old and confident, slightly worn at the center where the most feet have fallen. You walk to the end of them. The river is right below you. You look down at it. The orange stripe from the torch lies across the water at your feet. The current moves through the light, dark to gold to dark, in a slow and continuous rotation. You could watch this for a long time. You may have been watching it for a long time already. At this hour, time has loosened its edges. A boat is moored at the dock, a small one, round-bottomed, of the kind that ferrymen use. It knocks softly against the dock with each small movement of the river. A regular interval of sound, a small wooden knock, then a pause, then another, patient and slow and entirely without complaint. The river asks nothing of it. The boat offers what it can. This is also fine. You breathe the air above the water. It is the coolest air in Babylon at this hour, clean with the coldness of deep water, carrying reed and mud and something that is simply river, simply this river, simply the specific character of the Euphrates, which is different from all other rivers if you know it well enough, and you know it well enough. You exhale. The torch on the landing softens as you look at it. The orange light breathes, and the boat knocks once against the dock, and again, and the intervals between the knocks grow longer in your hearing, and the river moves below you in its long, patient dark, and your eyes close without you asking them to. Scene 30. Babylon dissolving into morning mist. Something is changing. You notice it the way you notice things at this hour, slowly, without urgency, the way information arrives when there is no longer any rush to receive it. The quality of the dark is different. Not lighter, not yet, but different, thinner perhaps, as though the dark is beginning to remember that it is temporary. The river is still the river. It does not care about transitions. But the air has changed. The mist comes first from the water. It rises off the Euphrates in slow vertical threads, pale and quiet, finding the cold air above the warm river and becoming visible there, one thread, then several, then a low, soft layer of it beginning to form along the bank, spilling very gently onto the path you walked earlier. Your footprints are still in the soft earth. The mist moves over them. You watch Babylon from the dock. The city is out there in the last of the dark, every outline you know, the great walls, the temple towers, the long procession of rooftops one behind another. You have seen it in full daylight. You have seen it in the amber of 1,000 evening lamps, but now you see it in this, in the gray early mist, and this is perhaps the best version. Softer. Less certain about its own edges. The ziggurat is still visible above the mist, which makes sense. Things that large are not dissolved by mist. They are only improved by it, given a base of cloud, made to seem as though they are floating, which no architect intended but which the mist provides free of charge. A bird calls somewhere, then another, a different kind, from a different direction. This is the city's first sound of the new day, and it comes from birds, which is appropriate. The birds have always known something about timing. They begin before anyone asks them to. They need no lamp, no signal, no official announcement that the night is releasing its hold. They simply begin. You pull your robe closer. The mist is cool now, settling. It moves over the dock in thin streams. It touches your hands and your face, and it is not cold, not quite, just cool enough to remind you that you have a body, that you are here, that this is real and also dreamlike simultaneously, both things true at once in the early morning way. The mist thickens along the walls of the city. The lower streets are gone into it. The upper city still shows, the great gate, the tops of palms, the watchtower where the last watchman is finishing his final circuit of the night. Even he is going soft at the edges now. Everything is. The mist does not rush. It takes Babylon slowly, building by building, taking only the outline, leaving the idea of the city intact. And the birds continue, and the river continues, and the mist continues over everything. And the sky above you moves from black towards something that is not yet blue. And the torchlight behind you dims in the gathering morning. And Babylon is still here, and you are still here, and the mist holds everything gently. And you breathe out, and the city breathes with you, and the light comes. Very slowly, very softly, into everything.